Varadari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jayarada Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Alright, we're now going to say an invocation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnanatirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Alright, Krishna. Welcome everyone to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, Purusha Sukta Confirmed. And yesterday we were talking about what does Purusha mean. And Narottam Prabhu was explaining that this chapter is about the universal form. And so today we're going to be reading about, reading from text 17 to text 21. We have a mic?
Something?
Yeah.
The sun illuminates both internally and externally by expanding its radiation. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by expanding his universal form, maintains everything in the creation, both internally and externally.
Okay, so who's speaking right now? Anyone? You can just call it out. Brahma. Lord Brahma is speaking. So just for context on who is Lord Brahma, there's kind of three deities of the material nature. And it's Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the maintainer, and Lord Shiva, the destroyer. And so just so that we can get more context on who's speaking, Krishna basically, he directs Brahma to create. So while Lord Brahma is the creator, he's being instructed by Krishna, the Supreme Person. And so, yeah, these are just some nice paintings, I thought. And then, for what is this conversation, Lord Brahma's son, Narada, he asks him, in the previous verses, he's saying, so you're the creator, but, like, basically, are you God? Are you the supreme creator? Is there anyone above you? And Lord Brahma says, he basically says, to those who have no knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am the absolute truth in this material world. But factually, I'm getting my power from someone else. And we just showed that picture. Who's Brahma getting his power from? Krishna. So Brahma is empowered by Krishna to create. And so this section of the Bhagavatam, which is kind of our main text, which contains basically all the knowledge of the universe, this section is talking about creation. And basically, how did we get in this situation? How are we here? Why is the world here? And how it relates to Krishna. And then, what was yesterday's class about? The universal form. And the universal form is different. Yeah, so we were talking about the universal form and how the universal form, it's this form that kind of comprises the whole universe. And so this form is what's sustaining the material world. So just that's a little bit of context. And so then this verse is saying that both internally and externally. So what do we think it means when it says that the universal form is maintaining everything in creation both internally and externally? What do we understand the internal to be? Yeah? Yeah. And the external? The material creation. So it's basically saying that this form is maintaining both the spiritual world and the material world. So now we can go on to the next one.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the controller of immortality and fearlessness, and he is transcendental to death and the fruitive actions of the material world. O Narada, O Brahmana, it is therefore difficult to measure the glories of the Supreme Person.
Okay, so this is still Lord Brahma speaking to Narada. So Narada is his son, and Narada is the one who is inquiring, are you the creator? So he's saying that it's Krishna, and Krishna is transcendental to all of this. Oh. And, when you're dealing with the Supreme Person who's infinite and absolute, it's going to be difficult to fully measure all the glories of that person. But Lord Brahma is going to definitely try. Jose, do you want to read the next verse?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is to be known as the supreme reservoir of all material opulences by 1/4 of his energy, in which all the living entities exist. Deathlessness and fearlessness and freedom from the anxieties of old age and disease exist in the kingdom of God, which is beyond the 3 higher planetary system and beyond the material coverings.
Okay, so I was saying that Krishna, he's the reservoir of all material opulences. And that basically his energy is in, there's both the internal and external. And the external comprises of 1/4 of all of his energy. And that is the material world, which we're in right now. So there's like the whole spiritual sky, and then there's this little 4th, which is covered by illusion. And it's specifically meant for those who don't want to surrender to God. He creates this situation for basically for us. It shows how non-spiteful God is, that even though we want to turn away from him, he facilitates us to do so. And he also facilitates us to learn about him and eventually, hopefully, come back. All right. Next text.
The spiritual world, which consists of 3/4 of the Lord's energy, is situated beyond this material world, and it is especially meant for those who will never be reborn. Others who are attached to family life and who do not strictly follow celibacy vows must live within the 3 material worlds.
Okay, so this is kind of saying what we were just talking about. The spiritual world is the 3/4, and it's beyond the material world. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma bhuvana loka puna arvartino arjuna. And in that verse, he basically says that those who attain to my abode never take birth again. So unlike this material world, the spiritual world is meant for those who will never be reborn. And that means that if you want to get there, you have to do some austerity, do some sacrifice to kind of break your attachment to the material world. You have a question? Oh. All right.
By his energies, the all-pervading personality of Godhead is thus comprehensively the master in the activities of controlling and in devotional service. He is the ultimate master of both nescience and factual knowledge of all situations.
Okay, I think it was to 21, but I'm not sure, so we can just do 22.
From that personality of Godhead, all the universal globes and the universal form, with all material elements, qualities, and senses are generated. Yet he is aloof from such material manifestations like the sun, which is separate from its rays and heat.
Okay, Jared. Now we're going back to text 19. Adeshu sarva bhutani Pumsam stiti pado vidu Amritam shemam abhayam Trimurdno Dhyayimurdasu Padeshu sarva bhutani Pumsam stiti pado vidu Amritam shemam abhayam Trimurdno Dhyayimurdasu. Please chant. Madeshu sarva bhutani Stiti vido vidu Madeshu sarva bhutani Stiti vido vidu Padeshu Sarvabhutani Samsiti Padovidu Amritam Shemamabhayam Shemodno Dahimodashu Padeshu Sarvabhutani Samsiti Padovidu Padeshu Sarvabhutani Samsiti Padovidu Amritam Shemamabhayam Shemodno Dahimodashu Padeshu Sarvabhutani Samsiti Padovidu Shemamabhayam Shemodno Dahimodashu. We can say this together. Padeshu in 1/4. Sarva, all. Bhutani, living entities. Pumsa, of the Supreme Person. Stiti Pada, the reservoir of all material opulences. Vidu, we should know. Amritam, deathlessness. Shemam, happiness. Abhayam, fearlessness. Shemurna, beyond the 3 high places. Adyayi, Yasu, beyond the 3 high places. Can someone read the translation?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is to be known as the supreme reservoir of all material opulences by the 1/4 of his energy, in which all the living entities exist. Deathlessness, fearlessness, and freedom from the anxieties of old age and disease exists in the kingdom of God, which is beyond the 3 higher planetary systems and beyond the material coverings.
Wow, okay. What do you guys think of this translation? Deathlessness, fearlessness, freedom. Sounds pretty nice, right? Okay. Janaki, do you want to read the first paragraph of the purport?
Out of the total manifestations of the Sandini energy of the Lord, 1/4 is displayed in the material world, and 3/4 are displayed in the spiritual world. The Lord's energy is divided into 3 component parts, namely Sandini, Samvit, and Hladini. In other words, he is the full manifestation of existence, knowledge, and bliss. In the material world, such a sense of existence, knowledge, and pleasure is meagerly exhibited, and all living entities, who are minute parts and parcels of the Lord, are eligible to relish such consciousness of existence, knowledge, and bliss very minutely in the liberated stage, whereas in the conditioned stage of material existence, they can hardly appreciate what is the factual, existential, cognizable, and pure happiness of life. The liberated souls, who exist in far greater numerical strength than those souls in the material world, can factually experience the potency of the above-mentioned Sandini, Samvit, and Hladini energies of the Lord in the matter of deathlessness, fearlessness, and freedom from old age and disease.
In the material world, the planetary systems are arranged in 3 spheres, called Triloka or Svarga, Marcha, and Patala, and all of them constitute only 1/4 of the total Sandini energy. Beyond that is the spiritual sky, where the Vaikuntha planets exist beyond the coverings of 7 material strata. In none of the Triloka planetary systems can one experience the status of immortality, full knowledge, and full bliss. The upper 3 planetary systems are called Satvika planets because they provide facilities for a long duration of life and relative freedom from disease and old age, as well as a sense of fearlessness. The great sages and saints promoted beyond the heavenly planets to Maharloka, but that also is not the place of complete fearlessness, because at the end of 1 kalpa, the Maharloka is annihilated and the inhabitants have to transport themselves to still higher planets. Yet even on these planets, no one is immune to death. There may be a comparative extension of life, expansion of knowledge, and a sense of full bliss. But factual deathlessness, fearlessness, and freedom from old age, diseases, etc., are possible only beyond the material spheres of the coverings of the material sky. Such things are situated on the head, Adai Murdhasu.
Okay, Jai. So, this purport, it's I like it a lot in that it's making me think of that Bhagavad Gita verse, and it's saying, from the highest down to the lowest, all are places of misery, where repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode never takes birth again. And so Prabhupada was listing off these names of different like higher planets, and he's saying that basically in the material world there's like these three planetary systems. There's the higher, there's the middle, and there's the lower planets. And depending on your karma, you'll go between them, and also depending on your different desires. So just like kind of how Christianity has the conception of heaven and hell, we also have a similar conception, but it's not eternal, it's not permanent, you know, and it's actually still material to be in either of those. Question?
Does that mean that the Christian belief of heaven and hell don't exist? Like, do you guys think hell exists?
Yeah, so it's a little bit complicated in that hell, a lot of the way the material world works is just based off your consciousness. And actually, you can be living in a hellish condition just based off your consciousness. You're always finding, you're always irritable about something, you're always upset about something. And you could even be in the best situation. You know, like we see celebrities, movie stars and stuff, they're in like the best situation, but then their life is seemingly hell. But then also there's the literal hell, in which, depending on your karma and your activities, you will be transferred to that place to kind of get the reaction for what you did.
So the fact of it, or for Christians, it being eternal, is that them getting it wrong, or is one religion right or wrong, or is it?
Yeah. Any thoughts on this question? Bhaktavatar Prabhu?
From my understanding, that the cycle of birth and death is eternal only as long as we choose to break free. Like, we've been stuck here for countless lives, so you could consider that eternity. And there's also lower planets that are similar to what's described in the Bible, where it's like, super hot and just like a place of suffering. So it's eternal, but we're not eternally damned there by God. God is very merciful, so He gives us another chance to get out.
Thank you. Nice answer. And I like the point you made in that we're going back and forth and up and down throughout these different planetary systems. But really, the goal of this human life is that we want to get out. We don't, kind of the understanding is that this material world is like a prison. And you could be in the lower planets where it's just so much suffering, or you could be kind of in the middle planets. The interesting thing about the middle planets is like you get to see both. And that's why this human life is so good for self-realization, is that you could walk a few blocks down the street and you walk into this bougie neighborhood, like they got the nice dogs and you see people jogging and like nicely mowed lawns and nice houses. And that's kind of like a heavenly lifestyle a little bit. It's very, it's material enjoyment. And then you walk another few blocks down and it's like the slums and it's dangerous and everything's kind of dirty, and you're like, oh man, like even in just one small like less than a mile apart you could even walk, and you get to see in this material world both the heaven and the hell. And so if you're able to see that, you're able to see that you can understand that this place is non-permanent and that we should try to get out. there's also a nice theme in this in these few verses that Krishna, he's supporting everything and everyone. I really love this picture. It basically shows what we were talking about. This is it doesn't look like 1/4, but we're kind of looking from the perspective of being inside the 1/4. Basically, Krishna, he's always enjoying in his spiritual energy. He's enjoying the spiritual abode. Yeah, it was saying that just as the sun maintains both the internal and external, Krishna, he's all the way up there, but he's maintaining everyone and everything. And specifically, he's maintaining this material world down to like even the insignificant ant. I was wondering we could all like take a second to just meditate on our day-to-day lives and like, yeah, we can just think about what kind of things come up, what problems come up, and you know, yeah, we can just take a second to think about just like our position and what we're doing, just for like 20 seconds. Yeah, we like go through our day-to-day lives and so many things come through and we get upset at one thing and we get happy about another thing and we're working on this project and stuff like that. We can just kind of reflect on like all the activities that we have. And then also we can think about what it's saying in that, you know, we're just so tiny. We're so tiny. In all of these universes, we're just a little like speck of a person inside of one of these like universes, and we think we have the biggest problems, and we think that we're going to change the world. I mean, we can change the world, but really we understand who's the one who's facilitating it. He's facilitating everything in the 3/4 of the spiritual energy, and then also in the material energy. Like every germ, it said not a blade of grass moves that's not under the Lord's will. So really, you know, in that situation, what's the immediate action item that you might get from realizing that you're very tiny and God is very big? What do you kind of want to do? Sumeru?
Surrender.
Surrender. That's really the Nanavej? Make friends with him, yeah. You realize like there's a really big, powerful guy, and you're like, okay, let's make friends with him. Let's be buddies. I like that point a lot because really, who's the boss of all of this? Who's the boss of everything that's going on? I saw this nice quote, and it was saying that I can't even remember it properly, and I'm probably gonna end up confusing you guys. But it was saying that like, don't think that your problems are too big for God. Think that God is too big for your problems. In that, yeah, I mean, it's pretty esoteric. I can't even really understand what they were inferring with that, but I just thought it was interesting that, you know, anything that we might have that's like any material problems that are happening in our life, it's just, we can reflect on how Krishna, he's so great. And he can really help us with just anything that's going on because he's in charge. Maybe, Sumedya, would you like to elaborate a little bit on just what you meant by surrender? It's kind of one word mysterious answer.
I mean, it's just, yeah, like he's just so great, and like he's the controller of everything, the maintainer of everything, and you're just like so insignificant that like how can you not, like, it just makes me feel like grateful as well. Just like everything like happens for a reason, and everything is because of his like sanction, and it's just, at least for me, it's like a feeling of, okay, I surrender, like everything he does is perfect, and I'm just so grateful that he is my Lord.
Yeah.
For some people, it's they'd surrender because of fear, and then for other people, which is what you should do, is just like gratefulness. And like if you want, I guess, the best life in the material world, you want someone that powerful on your side and
Yeah.
protecting you.
I liked your point. You know, in the beginning when you kind of first said surrender, it leaves it a little bit incomplete in that, you know, we kind of discussed like, oh, he's the big boss, he's the controller, he's, you know, he's in charge of everything, so I surrender. And so, without like, I guess the full context, it can kind of sound like, you know, what Esther was talking about, God-fearing and God, like, oh my God, he's so big, I'm just gonna like back off, I'm gonna chill out. And I mean, this conclusion of surrender is what the material world is meant for. It's meant for us to come to this conclusion. But I liked how you tied in your point with insignificance and how you're grateful. I remember I was seeing that, you know, just to even think of the point that he has all of this to maintain, but then he's also personally caring for you, and personally caring for each and every small thing. Like just the other day, you know, I just experienced this so much in that subtly I'm thinking something, or I'm like, man, I really wish that this would happen in my life, or I really wish that something would happen specifically. And he has such attention to detail. Maybe you've all experienced this, but Krishna, he has such attention to detail that, you know, somehow everything kind of like fits into place. I remember I saw this one quote in Vrindavan and Mayapur, and on someone's wall, and it said, "Embrace your insignificance." And I was kind of wondering if you guys maybe had any thoughts on that, because insignificant seems very lowly, but how can we embrace being insignificant?
It's just going back to what we talked about. Be grateful that you're able to surrender.
Yeah.
I was thinking like it makes you feel a little bit safe, like when you're a little bit insignificant. Because I know, like, I don't know, you just see this in movies and stuff, like when, like, there's somebody who has like a really powerful family and like, you know, they're protected, they're safe, they can kind of do what they want, and they know that they have somebody looking after them. Or like, and sometimes like, I don't know, maybe this is a bit like off, but sometimes like in the movie, maybe like the family's not the best.
Are you talking to the mic a little bit?
Sorry. And sometimes like, maybe like everybody's afraid, like let's say, I don't know, it's a princess or a prince or something, and everybody's afraid of the king, or everybody's like kind of reveres them, so that automatically gives you like that safety. So, but it's because that you have a relationship with that person, like you're connected to that person. So, like I was kind of thinking about how that's like a little bit like what our relationship is to Krishna, like, you know, like this is this like huge like creator, you know, like God, you know, it's like a really big deal, and like just having that relationship, it makes you feel a lot safer. And when we like get stressed or we get scared, it's because we forget that there's like somebody looking out for us, like somebody who's like a lot more powerful than ourselves. And like, yeah, it's insignificance, but at the same time, like you're significant to Krishna, but you're insignificant in the grand scheme of things. So
I like that. You kind of hit the nail on the head with that last point, that you are significant to Krishna. Krishna sees you as significant, and that's why he's in your life. That's why he's guiding you. That's why he's taking care of you, is because he sees you as significant. And also just embracing that you're like a little part of a great whole. You're a little part of the puzzle. So it's 8:20. If we can have just comments, reflections, thoughts, criticisms, stuff like that.
Should we see God in everywhere and everyone? Because that makes me think, like, if I'm insignificant and Krishna is the most significant thing that I can experience in my life, and he's in the heart of everyone, I should see everyone as very significant.
Yeah, kind of the Vaishnava's mood is of humility. It's that we say, oh, we don't superficially say it. We don't say, oh, I'm the most fallen, you go in prasadam line first or something. It's like really deep inside you feel it. You feel like kind of the goal of the practice is to kind of realize our position as a soul. And that includes realizing how insignificant we are. But it's not that we kind of go around and we say, you're insignificant, you're insignificant, you're insignificant. All of you are insignificant. Get out of here. So, yeah, it's like what you're saying. Like, if we see that, you know, just like if you see the president and you see the president's best friend, you're going to be like, okay, his best friend might be kind of like a little bit of a loser or something. But because he's friends with the president, he's now a significant person. And similarly, like you see other souls, everyone's a, you know, like a child of God. And if you see that, you also see them to be significant in that way. If that, if you have any thoughts on that. Or, yeah. Okay. Janaki?
Yeah, I like your point that humility is not like an external show of you go in line first. It's a practical, like a realization of knowing the soul's position as a servant. And so the commitment to service and how you serve others. And I was thinking, I liked your point also. You're saying that a lot of our problems are insignificant. We think that we have so many problems, but they're really insignificant. And then there's really only one problem, and it's very simple. And it's that ultimately we're all going to die. We all have a material body, and we all go through that same problem, that one same spiritual problem. And so working together to be very serious about spiritual life is also taking the humble position, because you realize that you don't belong here. And if you're connected to this divine person or to Krishna, then you'll realize that you can't serve him unless you're doing it spiritually.
Great point. Thank you.
And how do you recognize, or how do we recognize when we are serving from the spiritual life? Because sometimes I felt like I'm not sure if my service right now it's coming from my material nature, or is it coming truly from my heart. So I've been having sometimes problems like defining which is which in service.
Do you have any thoughts, Dr. Avatar Prabhu?
You're asking how do I know if my service is like spiritual?
Yeah.
Well, that's like a really high level. You know, like we'll have all these tinges in our hearts of like doing it for some motive. It's described that devotional service is unmotivated and uninterrupted. So when we attain that level, then we're fully free. But that doesn't mean that we're not doing the right thing. Like still Krishna accepts, like he's very kind to accept any service we offer to him. So we should really try to just think like, and every moment we're doing some service, like realize this is actually the perfection of my life. Like sometimes like you're given a service to like scrub a pot, and that may be like, oh my God, I have to go wash all these dishes, like what the heck, you know? But if we can just remind ourselves that this is the perfection of my life to scrub these pots, and I'm doing this as a service to Krishna, then if we have that mood, we're certainly having a spiritual mood in that way. It's just like a constant refining. But please
Thank you. That was
give a more detailed
that was
explanation.
an awesome answer. Yeah, you definitely gave me more clarity and stuff on that topic. That devotional service. Once we hit pure devotional service, then we'll be truly unmotivated in everything that we do. But until then, we go through the motions and we try to apply our heart as much as we can. I was thinking about Srila Prabhupada and how Srila Prabhupada is like, he was so unmotivated when he came here. Not unmotivated as in like he didn't feel the enthusiasm, but he didn't have any material motivations in coming here. And that's kind of, I can think like that's kind of why he was able to be so successful and so prominent, you know? We say this philosophy of, oh, I'm insignificant. But then Srila Prabhupada, he was like, he's like the most significant person in modern times to bring this here. And he's in like such a great position, and he's our founder Acharya. But that's also like his humility in that he's not getting caught up in that. He says like, I am the servant of Krishna, and my role in that is to help all of you. So, yeah.
Is it okay or possible to learn about or be a part of different religions at the same time, even if it's like not officially like being a part of that religion? Because they're so different, and I know the main goal is learning about God, but like the little things about them are different.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Yeah, so all the religions, they kind of have the same thing in principle. In principle, they all say, love God, learn about God, serve those who serve God, chant God's name and stuff. But when it comes to the little details, that's where things get a little bit tricky. And that's where things tend to differ. So from the kind of absolute perspective, all of them are following the same principle. But then it's the kind of the details. Any thoughts from any of you guys on other religions? Jai Hari? Prabhu? Oh, great sage.
Okay, so the question is it okay to learn about different religions?
Or to kind of like be part of them, but you're not really sold out to one specific one.
Okay, well, the only thing that comes to mind is that, is this a question in reference to Krishna consciousness, or is this just a general question?
General.
General. I only have a thought about if it would be referring to Krishna consciousness. So if it's okay, I can answer from that perspective. Yeah. So, like for instance, there was like, there's a lot of people that were raised in a Catholic faith, but then they, wanted to learn about Krishna, and so what I heard that the answer was about that was that it's okay, because Krishna consciousness is non-sectarian, and if somebody has a faith, then everyone is encouraged to continue with that faith, but just also add Krishna to the faith, right? So because chanting Krishna's name is very purifying, and it's a very intimate name. It's the most intimate name of God, and anyone can chant the name of Krishna. So you could be of whatever faith and chant Krishna at the same time. Yeah.
Jai. Awesome answer. Is it on the same point? Okay.
Sorry. I was. What was the word I was saying? I've heard like pick a path and like stick with it. I've heard that saying before, where like there's all these different religions. They're all going towards they're all going towards self-realization to a certain degree, or they're all going towards like God consciousness, and like you can. But you'll get the best results if you like find a path that you really like and it works the best for you, and you kind of stick with it. So for some people that might be Islam. For some people that might be Christianity. But if the goal is the same, then if you follow the process that like their teachers or our teachers or whoever's teachers, if you follow like the process that they gave and you just kind of stick with it, then you should attain the same sort of realization. But I really liked what Jai Hari Prabhu said. I like that he said, you can just add Krishna to anything. Or I know there's people who follow different faiths, but they still chant because it makes them feel peaceful, and they feel like it's like a meditation, and they feel like good. So I think that that's also really nice. But I've definitely heard like, if you like go with the process, like whether it's our process or somebody else's process, because the goal is the same, it'll work.
It's really just about what are you looking for, it sounds like. It's like, what are you trying to get? Are you, because God can be approached in many ways, and the way that we're approaching Krishna is a way that is kind of not been seen before. You can approach him through friendship, you can approach him through parental feelings, through conjugal feelings and all that, and that's not something that you really see in other things. So it's like, do you want that? Then it means kind of, oh, you go this way, and then if you want a different mood, then Krishna also has that. Krishna encapsulates all the moods, but that's kind of the unique position of just a full understanding of the personality of God.
It's okay if no one can answer this, but adding back to what he said about hearing that people say you can be a part of different faiths. I think it would be hard because, like we were talking about, there's like there are different beliefs. For example, the extremes, or example is Christianity. Christianity's heaven and hell, and then the difference in here.
Yeah.
So like, I don't get how you can be a part of two different things if you're like fully, like trying to be fully devoted to both at the same time. You can't believe both if they're not the same. Like, I've heard a lot of people, the way that they get into religion is they're born into it. So like, a lot of them don't really have a choice. So it's like, what I've heard is that some people are either right or wrong for the religion that they're in, but it's not really their choice for a lot of these people. So it's like, and also some people go towards religions based on what they like about it. Like, maybe they see Krishna as like, I guess, I don't know, like the whole eternal damnation thing of Christianity is what I'm thinking of. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound good, so like maybe people will want to get away from that, but it's not really getting away from it if it is the truth. I don't know if it is, but I think it's best to follow the truth, like the true religion. But how do you even know what's the true religion if they're all the same, or you're not born into that religion, or if you can't tell? It's so different.
Bhakta Avatar Prabhu.
So I asked my spiritual master a question similar to this, and before I could even finish, he just said, whoa, wait, hold on. Different religions? And then I was like, wow. And he said, yeah, actually religion is one. These different ways that we see things are just like a different time, place, and circumstance that God appeared in to give a different type of personality. But actually, there's no difference in religion. Religion is one in one sense, that there's one way back to God, and that's to love Him. So we can choose how we get inspired the most to love God, and we should use our intelligence to find who has the most love for God, who is following God with spontaneous love and devotion. And many of us have seen that Srila Prabhupada, was an example of someone who is purely devoting himself to God, and we've just decided to follow him. But yeah, understanding like different religions then puts like this bodily identification between all of us, that it's no different than thinking that, oh, you're a woman and I'm a man and there's difference, or you're from a different race, or you speak a different language, or that's an animal or a plant. That's like a bodily identification. So religion is that same way. So we should see that religion actually comes from the Latin religio, or to relink, like a ligament, religio, ligio, reconnect, yoga, yeah, relink with the Lord. So any path that does that is real religion, is the truth. So whether it's you just choose to follow Christ, even by following Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, we're still following Christ. Like my spiritual master describes how he was praying intensely to Lord Jesus Christ, and then Vishnu Jana Maharaj appeared. So maybe that helps a little bit.
All right, we should wrap up. We're kind of 6 minutes over, but over prasadam, we can keep discussing. But thank you all for coming. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.